How you doing, Rich?
I'm doing good. How are you this morning?
Good. What's going
Hey,
on?
so I wanted to bring this into the podcast today. Obviously, we've seen car sales reports come out, and unfortunately, just because of the way that the current market conditions are, I believe they're down about 30% across the board. And we know that China did not produce any vehicles last month, and I think they're just now coming out of their second COVID lockdown. So obviously, the 500-pound gorilla in the room is the white metals pricing, and this has an effect on pricing. So I thought I would just ask and get your opinion because of your background in the precious metals industry for 35 plus years. What do you see or what you've read or just gut feeling that you have that you could maybe enlighten us and the viewers about this, what we're seeing and what we're being affected by?
I was watching a report on television, a news report about Wall Street and some of the things that are affecting stocks. Now here we are. It's what is this? The 2nd of June, 2022.
Yes.
So just to frame it in perspective, here where we are, time wise. What I heard was normalized new car sales in the United States should be around 17 million units and close to 18. And on an annualized basis, they're saying it's about 13 million as of today. So I guess your 30% is pretty accurate. If you said 30% and I heard the numbers, so that looks like 30% to me. So what does that mean on the demand side? Well, that's called demand destruction, right?
Correct.
Why are new car sales down 30% on an annualized basis here in the middle of 2022? Well, when you look at the news, everyone out there is complaining about the price of this, the price of that, the price of the other thing.
Right. You feel it at the pump this morning?
They feel it at the pump. They come home with a half a cart of groceries, So there are some people in this country that are having to make some difficult decisions right now, making choices on what they're spending their money on. I think one of the other shoes to drop is going to be restaurants. You're going to see less demand there because people's budgets are getting tighter and tighter and tighter because of all this inflation that we're experiencing. What does that mean for the white metals? Well, obviously, the OEMs, the new car manufacturers, if they're not selling as many vehicles, they don't need as much platinum, palladium, and rhodium for the gas after treatment systems, the catalytic converter systems that they're building for these vehicles. That's quite a demand destruction. 30% is a big number. And we're only talking in the United States, 30%. You made a brief statement that China didn't build any cars when?
Last month.
The whole month.
The whole month.
Of May.
Mm-hmm. So obviously that puts a damper
zero
on
demand.
Pricing and zero demand. Yeah,
So I guess if you extrapolate it out on an annualized basis, maybe it's also 30% over there as well. So what does that bode for? We're always looking at, supply demand fundamentals in the PGMs. Is the market in oversupply or is it in deficit? If it's an oversupply, that means prices are dropping and going down. If it's in deficit, that means there's high demand. They're bidding up the price. Prices are rising. Well, we're not in that environment now. I think we saw, what did we see rhodium peak at last year, fourth quarter? It was about $27,000, $28,000 an ounce. Yesterday, we're looking in the $13,000 range. Mm-hmm. That's quite a difference. That's a 50% price. That's a haircut, man.
That's
50%.
That's a big haircut.
And we're only talking 7 months ago.
Right.
50%, 7 months. And we're looking at a 30% demand destruction. Palladium, we saw it peak at 3,000. Now we're in the 1,900 range, roughly. They say that palladium and rhodium will be in deficit at the end of the year. But right now,
Right.
doesn't look like it, does it?
No,
Doesn't feel like it
Correct.
on the pricing.
Right.
So I would be careful. I would be, cautious about holding inventories for periods of time, maybe for the quick buy sell where you've got your margin locked in. Yeah, you're trading, you're buying and selling. But if you're buying and holding, now you're really speculating. So I'm not so sure what's going to happen. People are saying we could be going into a recession. We've talked about that before.
Right.
It's not official yet. It feels like it slightly.
It does.
When you look at the pricing, when we look at volumes are off. Not dramatically, but they are off. But what does that mean for the second half of this year, 2022? Are we going to see a recession, or are we going to see an abatement in the inflation picture? I don't think we're going to see an abatement in the inflation picture.
Yeah,
We
probably
also
not.
talked about in the past the supply chain issues, all right, and how that's affecting the whole economy all over the place. Not just the car sector, when you look at the amount of chips that they need to go into all of these, little computers that they use, but all the way across the economy. And what does that mean for workers? What does that mean for household incomes? And are they going to have enough income to offset the inflation picture?
Yeah, that's a
Right?
good point.
And are the households going to be in consumption mode, consuming products, which is going to drive industrial production? I read something yesterday that said, I think it was in a Haraeus report that came out. Yeah, that the iridium prices are going to be affected negatively because they're seeing about a 25% fall off in demand for PVC, polyvinyl chloride. PVC is used in a whole bunch of industries. A quick one would be like insulation and copper wire. Okay, that's a good one. But there's a lot of products made out of PVC,
Right.
and so that they use the iridium because they can manufacture at a lower energy input and a higher efficiency, and if they're not producing as much PVC because demand destruction is in the economy, then they're not going to need to replace as much iridium in the manufacturing process, which is lost through mechanical losses in the manufacturing process. So now, you're going to see probably iridium is going to come down a little bit. They're saying 25% less. So less PVC consumption.
Interesting.
So it's all over the economy. It's just not the white metals. It's
Right.
how it gets to the white metals.
Right.
Right. And it's always manufacturing because they're the big on the catalyst side, for catalytic activities. Yeah. So
Interesting.
what do I think about pricing? Where's my crystal ball?
Yep. Bring out that crystal ball, Ed. Let's go.
I think platinum's going to rise. It rose recently. I think it's going to continue to rise. There's more demand for platinum because I think that the switcheroo's already occurred in the manufacturing of catalytic converters.
Yeah.
The switcheroo, I like to say.
The switcheroo.
the,
Enlighten the listeners
Well,
on
you're
that
talking
one.
about, palladium was the predominant catalyst in catalytic converters, and it was far less expensive than platinum back in the day when the substitution occurred in favor of palladium.
Right.
But now with the pricing of the palladium double what it is, and the substitution going back the opposite direction, I see that we're gonna consume more platinum. More platinum is going to be used in other manufacturing operations for fuel cells, and there's more demand for fuel cells now. Then doesn't use palladium; it uses platinum.
Right.
Right, and so more demand for platinum, lower deficits for, or I should say, not deficits, but surplus.
Yeah.
So lower surplus for platinum. So
That's going to raise up the price, right?
yeah,
It'll
the
be
price
more
is
of a
going to
demand.
continue to rise. So I think we're going to see that happen, and we'll probably see palladium soften. I think we'll continue to see rhodium soften in the short term, but in the long term, when we come out of this, first of all, we're not even in the recession technically yet.
Officially.
Right? And how long will that be? Will that be a 6-month, 12, 18-month recession? We'll see. But that at the end of that cycle, we'll probably see demand come back into the marketplace. New car sales rise again, probably much higher than the 13 million units normalized that we're looking at currently today. Once we get back to that $17-18 million figure, and maybe rising beyond that,
Right.
then prices are going to rise again. We're going to see deeper deficits for the palladium and the rhodium, and that's just the way I read the tea leaves and what I'm seeing. But we're always looking, we're always reading, we're talking to people in the industry on a daily basis, and trying to gain further insight.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, why? Because we run a business, and we buy and sell product, and we speculate a little bit, not a lot.
Right. Don't want to speculate.
Not too much, just a little bit.
But I think you have a good pulse on what's out there.
Right.
But on a good note, I wanted to bring this up. This was in the news here recently. Ford Motor Company. So Ford's adding 6,200 new union jobs in 3 states. The 3 states are Michigan, Missouri, Ohio, and they're investing $3.7 billion. So they're creating 1,800 new union jobs at their Ohio assembly plant.
That's great news.
And what that's going to do, it's going to help them accelerate their electric vehicles. They're still making the ICE internal combustion engines. They're still focused on that as well.
Right.
But I thought this was a positive, even though, we just talked about car sales being down. Here you have Ford, good old Henry Ford, still in the game, and they are, investing $3.7 billion. So that's good news.
That's very good.
And one other little thing that I thought I would bring up here, if I can find it here, you had mentioned, hydrogen. And I know that recently Ford just filed for a patent for their hydrogen engine, and it's a turbocharged hydrogen engine. So I don't have too much insight on that right now currently, but I thought that was pretty neat since you just spoke about, the flip-flop, but also the demand for platinum. And as you said, you need platinum for the hydrogen, the fuel cells.
The hydrogen fuel cells.
So
yes.
obviously that is going to, create the demand for platinum, and we are going to see platinum rise here.
Yeah.
So that's really good stuff.
Absolutely. What's that up there on the wall?
That right there, that represents Noble 6.
That's our rebrand, right?
That's our rebrand.
Our recent rebrand to Noble 6.
That's right.
Just thought I'd mention it.
That's good. Yeah, for anybody who maybe hasn't seen our podcast that we announced the rebrand. I mean, the rebrand with the launch of the new name Noble 6.
And the new website.
And the new website, you can reach us at noble6.com. Click on services. For those that are interested in getting access to the catalytic converter price guide, just click on services, click on catalytic converter price guide. When you're on that page, you'll see there's 2 options. Whichever option works best for your individual company, sign up. It's super simple. You'll see it says sign up. Just click sign up, fill it out. You create your username, you create your own unique password, and you're in.
All right. That's great.
So take advantage of it.
Good news.
Well, I appreciate your time today. Thank you for your insight. Right. I really enjoy sitting down with you. So
sounds good. Thanks.
Have a great day.